Welcome back. I'm Stephanie Ruhle. It has been fascinating to watch how Republicans have worked to defend the president during this impeachment inquiry, many trying to redirect attention to Joe Biden or House Democrats or the deep state. But that is easier said than done, as Republican Senator Ron Johnson found out on Meet the Press.
I have my third letter into the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee asking to just confirm, are you investigating those leaks that Peter Strzok talked about in that text?
Senator, I have no idea why.
No, that's a setup. It is entirely irrelevant to this point.
Why a Fox News conspiracy propaganda stuff is popping up on here? I have no idea.
It is not.
I have no idea why we're going here.
That is
Senator,
because this is underlying
about,
exactly why President Trump is upset and why his supporters are upset at the news media.
Okay, this is not about the media. Senator Johnson, please. Can we please answer the question that I asked you instead of trying to make Donald Trump feel better here that you're not criticizing him? I'm just trying to ask you a simple question of what made you wince.
Chuck Todd showing how it's done. Let's bring in my team to help us understand this. Charlie Sykes, editor-in-chief of the Bulwark, John Allen, national political reporter for NBC, and Jeff Mason, Reuters White House correspondent. Charles, to you first. Ron Johnson. He represents your home state of Wisconsin. Well, I'm guessing most people were getting ready for the Packers game. I'm guessing a few constituents had to have seen that performance. What did they make of it?
Well, that was painful. Look, I have known Ron Johnson for many, many years, and what you saw there was really the real Trump derangement syndrome. You know, what happens when you fall into the Trump orbit, and you have somebody who is a non-politician, common-sense businessman who is now on Meet the Press spewing conspiracy theories, lashing out at the media, and, showing his fealty to Donald Trump. So it was a painful, cringeworthy episode, but once again shows how difficult it is for Republicans to mount a coherent, rational defense of the president, given all the information that's coming out.
Well, I actually have some of that, Jeff. I want to play bits of what some other Republicans had to say over the weekend, specifically making this argument that when the president said China should open an investigation into the Bidens, it was all just a joke. Please watch.
Do you think it's okay for President Trump to ask China to launch an investigation of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden?
I don't know if that's a real request or him just needling the press, knowing that you guys were going to get outraged by it.
Well, I doubt if the China comment was serious, to tell you the truth.
George, you really think he was serious about thinking that China's going to investigate the Biden family?
Why can't you answer yes or no? Do you think it's appropriate?
I don't, because I don't think that's what he did.
I don't think we're outraged. I think we are serious. Jeff, do you think China or the American people thought that the president was joking? When he asked Russia to look into Hillary Clinton's emails, they did it.
Well, honestly, Steph, I don't think it matters what we thought. It was what he said, and it was our job to report that, and we did. And I think it's hard to argue if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, regardless of where you stand on this, that when the President of the United States walks outside, says to reporters while cameras are rolling, China should do this, or that we're considering asking China to do this, that China would interpret that as a joke. We know from the 2016 campaign and from the Mueller report that after the president, then candidate Trump, asked Russia to search for Hillary Clinton's emails, that there was an uptick in activity. We know that the whole world is watching when the leader of the free world speaks, even when he says things that are unexpected. So, it seems like it's a defense mechanism or strategy that some of these Republicans are coming out with or trying to test out, but it's hard to imagine that Beijing would see it in the same way.
Let's talk about a different strategy. Mr. Allen, I want to play part of what Rudy Giuliani said last night when he was going after Joe Biden.
CNN put out a report that the allegations against Biden are not supported by anything. Yes, they are. They're supported by 3 affidavits. That's a lot better than whistleblowers.
3 affidavits. That's what it appeared he was holding up. But the truth is, what Giuliani was actually holding up were not affidavits. It was a printout from a website called hopelesslypartisan.com, which appears to be a website run by an individual guy from Jersey. What is your take on this, John? I know we're giggling, but it's not funny This is the president's attorney who in many instances is now representing him or the United States on foreign policy, waving around literally a conspiracy theory.
I mean, we're at the point now where the president and his allies might as well be telling us that Elvis wrote the Constitution in a DeLorean, Stephanie. I mean,
but that's not funny.
And I didn't. Yeah, I don't think it's funny at all. I mean, this is not only something that's being written on Fever Swamp conspiracy websites, some sort of some sort of mix of conspiracy theory and propaganda that's being put out, but it's being forwarded not only by the president's allies, but the president of the United States himself. What he is asking us to believe is this wild set of conspiracy theories that starts with the idea that Russia did not interfere in the 2016 campaign, which, by the way, his intelligence community has attested to. The intelligence community under Barack Obama attested to, and that in fact it was somehow Ukraine with a connection by the Bidens somehow doing a false flag operation to frame Russia. I mean, this is insane stuff, Stephanie, and I think all of us need to call out the difference between fact and fiction, and Rudy Giuliani holding up a few papers on television will never change the fact that the president of the United States asked Ukraine publicly to investigate a political opponent. That investigation, whether it turned up anything or not, would be of political value to the president. He asked China to do it publicly, and he asked both of them to do it privately, according to the White House call with Ukraine that was put out as a summary by the White House and by the reporting we've seen in terms of his comments to President Xi.
Charles, what's the price of speaking out against the president? Bob Costa wrote, a former official said Republicans don't want to be the zebra who strays from the pack and then gets eaten by the lion being President Trump. But you wrote this weekend about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney did speak out against the president, and yes, the president attacked him, but Mitt Romney seemed to be A-OK going pumpkin picking with his grandchildren this weekend. So have things changed? Can you speak out against the president and let him let it rip, but you still rock on?
Well, now here's the interesting thing, though. He can attack Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney right now is pretty much alone. I mean, there's some furrowed brows, and Ben Sass has said some pretty interesting things. But right now, it's only Mitt Romney. But what if there was a critical mass? What if you had 6, 7, 8 Republicans who decided to break their silence? Is President Trump going to attack them all? Is he going to tweet insults against them? And how would that play with their Senate colleagues? So there's an interesting moment here. Nobody wants to be the second or the third that breaks from the pack. But this is a real danger for President Trump. If his strategy of insult and intimidation does not work, and people begin to think about the verdict of history as opposed to the president's tweets, you might actually see some movement.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.